and welcome to Miss Bailey's Daily Dose. Today we are going to be learning to describe a setting. So we've been looking at The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton, and at the minute the children Joe, Beth and Frannie have gone up the enchanted tree, so the Faraway Tree, that's what it's called. And we're going to be creating our own world and imagine that we're either Joe, Beth or Frannie and that we're going into that world. Never wants to work with me. So imagine that you could choose the world at the top of the tree. What would your world be? So would it be dinosaur world? Would it be chocolate world? Pizza world? Would it be a magical world where witches and wizards live? Would it be fizzy drink world where every single thing is a fizzy drink? Even the people are fizzy drinks, your favourite ones. Could it be football world, fairy world, toilet world? So for our setting description, we need to use some adjectives, and we're going to be using our senses just like we did in the haunted house setting description. So what does your world look like? So for example, if it's toilet world, is it messy? Is there toilet bowl everywhere? Are there toilets that haven't been cleaned everywhere? Is it a disgusting, horrible world? Is it beautiful if it's a fairy world? So maybe there's fairies everywhere, magical toadstools and trees that whisper to one another, just like in the Faraway Tree and in the forest and the woodland in the Enchanted Wood that they see in the story. Is it sparkly? So is it diamond world where absolutely everything is made of diamonds? Is it mouth-watering like chocolate world where you walk in and your jaw drops to the floor with saliva pouring down because your belly is so hungry because everything looks so tasty? So, decide which world you're going to be doing, and on the sheet that I provided you, I've given you a box that you can draw that in. I've chosen to do chocolate world because chocolate is my favourite. I love chocolate. So, you've got to decide what you can see first, and I've given you a sheet that's got the senses on that you can write some things in. So when I walk into my chocolate world, I can see toadstools made of triple chocolate fudge cake. I can see houses all around me that are made of my favourite bars of chocolate, so chocolate Oreo and fingers, the roofs made all the fingers and the chimneys. I can see roads and paths that are made of Rolos. I can see trees made from flakes. I can see cars made from caramel nibbles. I can see chocolate people like in this picture. So I'm in our world now, on Earth. If I was zapped into my new world, I can imagine all those things around me. So you need to imagine that you've been zapped into that world. If you're in toilet world, if you're in pizza world, what can you see in front of you? Can you see pizza cars? Can you see pizza people? Can you see pizza paths? Maybe the roads are Domino's boxes, and in each step you take, your favourite pizza appears in that box. So think about what you can see. So you can see here I've got chocolate people, some more chocolate people here, different characters, chocolate houses, chocolate toadstools. So think about what you want your magical world to be and what you could see once you stepped into there through that portal. What would you hear? So imagine I've stepped into that world, what sounds would I hear? So if we were in our world, this morning when I came out of my house, I could hear birds chirping, I could hear cars, I could hear the drip of the tap outside. What can you hear in your world? So in my world, there's going to be a melted chocolate stream and waterfall in the distance that I'll be able to hear crashing across the riverbeds. I could hear chocolate bars snapping. So every time the door on one of these chocolate houses closes, it sounds like a snapping of chocolate. I can hear a strange noise coming from the chocolate people. It's not a noise that I've heard before, it's not in my language. So maybe they've got a different language in their chocolate world. And then I can also hear the snap, crackle and pop of Coke Pops, because there is a massive swimming pool of Coke Pops in my world, and I can hear that as well. So you've got the snapping of chocolate, you've got my chocolate waterfall, and you've got the big Coke Pops swimming pool. What would you smell? So remember, we've gone from the normal world in the Enchanted Wood. So we can smell flowers, we can smell the leaves, we can smell dust and mud in the wind and the grass. What can we smell now in chocolate world? Well, I can't smell grass because everything's made of chocolate, so I can smell chocolate. I I can smell caramel. Okay, I'm stepping on these Rolo paths and I can smell that caramel crunching as we go down. I can smell biscuits. So the whole of my world is going to be a sensory sensation because I can smell the chocolate and the caramel and the biscuit that I love and the sugar. So think about what you can smell in your world. And how would you feel? So that might be what you can feel as you go along and touch, but it's also how you feel inside. So I feel when I'm in this chocolate world like I'm in heaven. I'm happy, I'm elated, I'm excited, I'm hungry, I'm impatient. Okay, I really want to run to that chocolate person and eat him because I'm so hungry. So thinking about how you're feeling. Now when you go into toilet world, you might feel disgusted. Okay, you might feel sick because maybe there's toilet paper that's been used on the floor or whatever. So you've got to decide for your world, how do you feel? So in the Faraway Tree, there's going to be worlds that we really like, but there's also some worlds that are not places we want to be in. Remember what the owl said? They said, don't go up there, you could get lost and it's dangerous. So maybe you've got a more dangerous, disgusting world rather than a nice, happy, lovely world. So, for our setting description, we need to go as if we just turned up at the world. So we've got to think about the Faraway Tree. They're at the top. We know when they get to the top, they go to a magical world and it changes each time. And it could change for a long period of time, or it could change really quickly. They could be in one world, and the next day it'll be a different world up there. But we've got to decide how our characters, Jo, Beth and Frannie, actually get into that world. So at the top of the tree, is there a magical door that they have to open? And suddenly they get zapped into their new world. Is it a portal like this? Or a mirror at the top with a portal in it, where they pop their arm through and suddenly they're zapped into this new magical world where they don't know anything around them? We've got to decide. So could you have a magical door? Could you have a portal? Or could you have a mirror that has that portal in there? What do you see first? So for example, with my character, they're going to go through a portal. They're going to be zapped through. They're going to land on the floor. Okay, so they're going to be landing on the floor in a rubble with all three of them, Jo, Beth and Frannie. And I've got to think about what is underneath me. So in mine, I'm going to have chocolate grass, chocolate mud, chocolate dirt. If you're in dinosaur world, is it that you go into that world and you land on the floor in the middle of a dinosaur print? Could that be what you see before your eyes first? Or if you're in sleepy world, is it that you land on a mattress and spring up in the air like a trampoline and then spring back down onto a mattress? So thinking about how you're going to get into your world and what your character sees first. Then explaining what else you can see around you. You can see houses, you can see people, you can see the chocolate path, could you see animals, could you see trees? So you're thinking about things you can see. And then going on to use your other senses. So hear, smell, feel as you're walking through this world. So I'm going to start with suddenly, because it suddenly happened. Jo, Beth and Frannie have been up in the enchanted tree, the Faraway Tree. They're up there, they see this portal, and suddenly they've been zapped into this new world, and they're not sure where they are. Suddenly, we were swept up off our feet and spun down a whirling black hole. I landed on the floor with a thump. My hands were covered in a brown, sticky substance, but it didn't look like mud. So I've started with suddenly, which is really important, because we want to start our sentences in different ways. We don't want, I fell on the floor, it was chocolate mud. Also, I've tried to show and not tell the reader. So I've not said, I've spun through this portal. I've said black hole, not exactly said it's a portal. I've said I've landed on the floor and there's this substance on my hand that looks like dirt, but I don't think it is. I haven't said I've landed on the floor and I'm in chocolate world, because I don't know that yet. My character doesn't know that. They've just landed on the floor, so they're like this at the minute. So all they can see is the floor. They haven't looked up, and they can feel something on their hands. The first thing they're looking at is their dirty hands. What's on there? I brought them, my hands, close to my face and got a whiff of melted chocolate. Come to think of it, the floor looked exactly like the squares of a dairy milk bar. Could this road be made of chocolate? So I've used a rhetorical question in there. My character, oh, sorry guys. don't know why it doesn't want to work. My character is thinking to herself, could this path be made of chocolate? She's in disbelief. She doesn't believe that she's actually there in this world. She doesn't know where she is. Next paragraph. When I looked up. So using a different clause. When I looked up, comma, I couldn't believe what was in front of my eyes. The trees, the flowers, the houses were all made of chocolate. So I've got all the way down to here, and now I'm talking about the chocolate and what else I can see around me. So instead of going, suddenly we were swept off our feet into chocolate world. There was chocolate everywhere, chocolate streams, chocolate rivers, chocolate people, chocolate houses. It was amazing. About 2 sentences long. We need to try and show, not tell. So you're showing me what your character feels like, what your character sees, what your character smells, what your character feels, rather than telling. Every chocolate bar you can imagine was before my eyes. My tummy began to rumble and my mouth watered like a gigantic waterfall. Again, I'm using those similes that we've done in previous lessons. Get those similes in there. You want to be describing in really interesting ways. So for this bit, every chocolate bar you can imagine was before my eyes. My tummy began to rumble. If your tummy's rumbling, you're usually feeling hungry, but I'm not saying I was so hungry I could eat my own body weight in chocolate. I'm saying how I feel, I'm showing. So my rumbling tummy, the water, the saliva dripping from my mouth shows that I'm really, really hungry in this chocolate world. My mouth is watering. I looked at Joe and Frannie in disbelief. Had we gone to heaven? So this is quite a short description. You can make yours as long as you like and put all your senses in there. Really important. So if we have a look at the senses that I've used. What can I see? How do I feel? So my hands were covered in brown chocolate. So that's what I can see, but also what I feel. I can feel that sticky substance on my hands. Really important. Again, how I feel, I've got my rumbling tummy, mouth watering. How I feel inside. What else can I see? I can see the trees, I can see the flowers, I can see the houses, I can see that it's all made of chocolate bar and chocolate, my favourite chocolate. I can smell the whiff of melted chocolate. So in there, I've got how I feel. I've got what I can see. I've got what I can smell. And the one that I'm missing is what can I hear. So I want to see whether you can write a description for your own world. You can start it with suddenly, and then you can think about how you got to that world. So say if we're doing, we'll do Sleepy World together. So suddenly, I was pulled into the magical mirror and landed with a, because thump is how I've landed. I'm going to do it in capital letters to accentuate that even more, to emphasise it. Suddenly, I was pulled into the magical mirror and landed with a thump. When I opened my eyes, so we've got when I opened my eyes, comma, I couldn't believe what I could see. Where was I? How did I get here? for using those rhetorical questions.
So see whether you can now create your own setting description for your own world. Non-negotiables, things you need to include. Use your senses. Describe what you can see, hear, smell and feel in your world. Make sure you write in first person. I saw this, we did that. Remember, you're writing as if you're Joe, Frannie or Beth. Use adjectives and extra detail like similes to show, not tell. Don't tell me that you're hungry. Show me by the rumbling stomach or the mouth watering. And use those rhetorical questions. Where was I? How did I get here?